Elon Musk is a man of many talents, and weirdly enough, choosing fonts is one of them. You've probably seen the SpaceX and Tesla logos 100 times, but do you know the secret meaning behind them? If you don't, no need to worry, because we're going to be discussing the meaning and history of all of Elon's companies. So don't go anywhere, because we have a lot in store for you. First up, who knew Musk's so particular about fonts? So in a series of tweets by Musk himself, we got to know a pretty cool hidden meaning behind the SpaceX logo. The billionaire's definitely a perfectionist, since he told his followers that he's somewhat agonized over his choice of fonts for his logos. It's a big decision after all. Businesses get remembered by their logos, so he had to design them to be iconic and memorable. And everything Musk does, there's some reasoning behind it, even if we don't immediately see it. Responding to a tweet about serif and sans serif typefaces, the businessman took a break from posting cryptic memes and political rants to explain how much he loves fonts. He also mentioned how he puts a lot of thought into how his companies are presented to consumers. Up next, let's look at the hidden meaning in the SpaceX logo. I somewhat agonized over the Tesla and SpaceX font design. Love fonts, TBH, Musk tweeted. Now, if we look at the logos of SpaceX and Tesla side by side, there were certain parallels, particularly in the use of negative space and how it's being used to draw attention to both logos. And while there have been small tweaks over the years, the main essence of the logos has remained the same. But more on those changes later. And now here's the meaning very few people have picked up on. The SpaceX logo, written in a similar font with an extended X, actually refers to the reusable rockets made by the company. Basically, the arc of the X represents the rocket's arc to orbit. How cool is that? The SpaceX logo represents the elitist manufacturing of space technology. What the business and Musk himself stand for are high-tech breakthroughs and the eventual colonization of Mars. In a nutshell, the goal of SpaceX is to make space more accessible, so it makes sense that the American company features a balanced logo that conveys confidence, strength, and stability. And now, let's look at the older SpaceX logo from 2002. Something really interesting we found was how the company's website still had the old SpaceX logo. It's a two-level inscription with the gray word space and a stylized letter X constructed from three wide blue stripes on the top line. One lengthy diagonal is aimed at the E, but it doesn't connect since the designers wanted a gradient to make the X end disappear into space. The phrase in red, Space Exploration Technologies, the entire name of the space technology manufacturer, is at the bottom under a long horizontal line. Up next, how has the logo changed over the years? Okay, so the logo had two versions, but the first one was rarely used. Here's the thing, the designers actually discovered some small mistakes that needed to be fixed. The horizontal lines of the letters S, C, and E seemed a little unbalanced in height to them, as did the rounded corners and the vertical stripes. And not just that, as they thought the space between A and C was disproportionately large because A had no left side. The developers also mentioned that they didn't like many creative elements in the SpaceX logo, which was supposed to look solid and more professional. The stylized X was also not the best work since its inner edges were too close to the dividing line. All of this resulted in the designers correcting their errors and creating a new logo. And now they've fixed a lot of the mistakes. So the updated logo incorporates a mix of curved and straight shapes, and a few of the mistakes were fixed. The letter edges appear symmetrical, the top A is enlarged and aligned. The designers have also improved the width proportions of the horizontal and vertical lines. The rounded corners of the E match the shape of the C, and the rectangular edges blend into the X's sharp angled sides. The letter spacing has been adjusted by the developers, making it possible to set the reading pace. Space and X are now separated, but they still form one word and represent what the company stands for. The final letter has also been corrected. Its inner corners emphasize the dynamic trajectory of the arc, and the cut corner of a long line conveys confidence and strength. The vertical version of the emblem is equally effective, since it's meant to be put on missiles, where a horizontal version of the inscription cannot be placed. Next up, the logo's there to make a good impression on the aliens. So why is Musk so picky and careful about his logos? Well, as SpaceX jokes, they want to make a good impression on the Martians. This is why the space industry's leader is concerned with the visual quality of his logo. Add to that how the X is shaped like a rocket launch trajectory, he gives the logos a whole new special meaning. When you superimpose a letter on the condensation trail of the launch vehicle engines, the connection becomes really clear. All of the letters in the word have a unique appearance, and the smooth curves convey a sense of speed. And true to his uniqueness himself, the SpaceX logo doesn't use any existing fonts. It was instead instead created from scratch by New Jersey-based RO Studios. And as you know, colors have meanings too. Except for the curved line in the letter X, the entire word is dark blue. Blue represents commitment, perseverance, and consistency. Looking at the X, the trajectory of the missile launch is represented by a light gray line. This color represents stability and calmness, which are all major characteristics that the company strives for. And now, let's look into the Tesla logo a bit more. So Tesla's brand image really hasn't changed much since its beginning in 2003. The same studio that helped design the SpaceX logo, RO Studio, designed the Tesla one too. So the automobile company's first logo had two parts, the company name and a shield emblem with a symbol in the shape of the letter T that represented the name. Even though the emblem could be used alone, this was a combination mark logo. Truly ahead of its time, Tesla presented us with a futuristic and elegant logo that included a 3D effect on the shield, which was a popular element in logos from the previous decade. The font used on the shield was called Emblem D, and it would be used on subsequent versions. The Tesla logo was red on some variants of the logo. However, if you believe that the Tesla symbol represents only a simple T, you are mistaken. Looking at the logo, we can't blame the few people who thought it represented a woman's reproductive system or a cat's nose. But that's not the case at all, as instead, it's a nod to one of Nikola Tesla's inventions, the electric motor. And it's a well-known fact that Nikola Tesla continues to be the company's primary inspiration and personal inspiration to Musk. This is no doubt one of the features of the brand that has helped the company build a strong brand image and differentiate itself from other car manufacturers over the years. So what does the new logo look like and mean? Even though the original logo wasn't bad at all, Tesla decided to redesign their logo in 2017 by making some major changes. The company dropped the name Motors and retained only the letter T as the primary emblem and representation of the name Tesla. Depending on whether it was on a white or red background, this T was displayed in red or silver. It's worth noting that Tesla is not the only company that has simplified its logo in recent years. Logos follow the trend of the decade, and this company wasn't any different. Current logo trends favor minimalism, so we see how companies like Starbucks, Nissan, and MasterCard removed some elements from their logos during recent redesigns too. And now, here's the secret meaning. The T-shaped design is actually designed to imitate an electric motor cross-section. As can be seen, Tesla's brand image has remained relatively consistent since the company's inception. Their logo was still pretty innovative when it was designed, but it has stood the test of time, and by no means is that a small feat. And now, finally, there's one more of his company with a secret meaning. We've talked about SpaceX and Tesla, but there's one more of his companies with an underrated logo, the Boring Company. The name itself takes a playful tone since boring is a word that means digging a hole rather than, actually being boring. The company's mission to build an underground network of tunnels to relieve congestion is anything but boring, and the O filled in with color shows a tunnel cross-section. After all, what could be simpler or more appropriate for a company that digs holes than a hole in the logo? Simple solutions are frequently the most effective, but we have to admit that achieving simplicity isn't always easy. And clearly, each of these three logos got it right. Tesla, SpaceX, and the Boring Company logos were created with remarkable simplicity and accuracy. You know you made a good logo if you can remember it positively. That's a wrap for this video. Did you know the hidden meaning behind SpaceX's logo? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.